What is up, Cowboys Nation? Boy, Mike Tag here. Hope everyone's doing well, getting things going. We're getting closer to the weekend, but free agency is kind of like, I guess this is the official day is starting, but tampering's been going on. So lots of stuff. We're going to get into the pleasantries. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share. Kelly K9, what's up? What you doing, man? Sorry. I'm excited with this breaking news, but I got to introduce you first to the crew to make sure you get a chance to say hello.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I'm doing all right. Just ready to talk some Cowboys football and get in the thick of this thing. We got, there's some things to talk about.
There's some things to talk about, but let's just start with the breaking news. It kind of broke like I was getting everything ready for the show as Osa gets traded to the 49ers for a third-round draft pick. Now, you and I have talked about this, and we did our mock. I did my mock draft. You still got to do yours, and you have you always get one up on me. You got the free agency kind of started. Now we get the extra third round. We got the compensatory picks. So you're going in with a plethora, if we could say, of picks. And you might do some maneuvering a little bit because I know there's a guy on your radar. But what is your thoughts on the Osa traded to the 49ers? And then we'll get into Solomon. It's not that big of a deal, but
seventh, yeah,
big news. So what's your thoughts about that trade initially?
I saw it coming. That room was that room was heavy. We were heavy on that position, and when you looked at how much money was invested, you just kind of saw the writing on the wall. I thought that they could have got a second, but I'm sure the Cowboys were working the phones. I'm sure they made several calls, and I'm sure they went with the best offer. I'm sure they didn't just lay down. But I always feel like that when we make trades and we trade players away, I always feel we get lowballed. I don't know why I feel that way. Amari Cooper, the way when we traded him, I felt he was worth a lot more. In fact, I know he was, because then a couple years, what was it? 2 years later, he got traded for 2 picks higher than what we traded him for. I felt like Osa was worth a second. And I really, 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 really wanted to get back into the second round of this draft. And, we still can. We can trade back from one of those picks and possibly pick up a second rounder. But, I would love to get into the second round. I think that's where Jacob Rodriguez is going to go, linebacker. And I just, I'm obsessed there. Obviously, I don't think that the Cowboys – and I know the Cowboys probably aren't on the same wavelength as I am. And that's fine. That's just my personal one, Brendan. But
Schottenheimer personally is going to the Texas Tech Pro Day, from what I heard.
I did see that. Look, there's several guys there, though. You've got, there's going to be, I believe, there'll probably be like 9 total guys this year. It'll be a record for Texas Tech. Most guys drafted this year, but there's a lot of them. So Lee Hunter, they're going to be probably out on that because they don't need another defensive tackle. But Lee Hunter is going to be a guy who's probably going to go late first, early second. You've got Romello Height and David Bailey, the 2 pass rushers. Romello Height will be a later. I think Romello Height
in that late first, right?
He could be in that late first, might fall into the second round because it does seem to be some depth there with some of these secondary pass rushers. And you got Mesidor from, Miami. You've got Romello Height. You've got a lot of guys along that line. But yeah, they've got a lot of guys in their pro day. They've got a couple wide receivers, and they've got a safety that'll be drafted this year. So a lot of guys for them for him to go look at for sure. But yeah, I just thought that I thought Osa was worth a second. So I was kind of a little bit disappointed that we didn't get a second round pick, but
yeah, you wonder you wonder how the money plays into it for them too. That sometimes dictates a little bit of the compensation. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just sitting here, in the cave. So, but I would just say this, and I'm going to say this, and I don't want to steal it, but I will give credit where credit is due. Patrick No C Walker tweeted this, and I had to retweet it. Did you ever think of the day that the Cowboys were just so heavy at defensive tackle that we could just trade 2 away in 10 minutes? Did you ever think we'd see the day?
Definitely not. We went from having that. When they picked up the guy from the Chargers, though, that other guy, which I think he's going to be a rotationary piece, but when they picked him up yesterday, when they signed him, don't know how to pronounce his name, but
yeah, we the guy from the Chargers.
When they signed the guy, the defensive tackle from the Chargers, and I know he's a rotational piece. I knew at that point Osa was gone. He'd already been getting floated around.
I mean, don't you think? Because there was rumors of him getting traded.
His name had been getting floated around for a while as a possible trade candidate. Think we talked about it well before even free agency started. That Osa could be a guy whose name, that he might get traded, because you got Kenny Clark, you got Quinnen Williams, that's a pretty good duo right there, right? So, I think that. Feel bad for Osa. He just built a house in Dallas and took a lot less money to stay here. That's business and kind of didn't fit in the scheme. So, the thing with Osa is a better pass rusher than he is a run stopper.
Yeah.
It's business. We got a lot of run stoppers now, but pass rusher for me is still something that I feel is lacking. But we can get into that here in a little bit. But look, at the end of the day, it is business. The other thing that I'm not a fan of is trading to rival teams. Look, I mean, a deal's a deal. Pick is a pick. I hate trading anybody to the 49ers, the Eagles, the Giants, any of our rivals like that. I don't like doing it. If Osa goes out there and has great, it does great for the Niners, and then they have some great season, and then they end up making out. It's not going to sit well with me. But at the end of the day, business is business. You got to take your emotions out of it, and they did it. So
no, and I mean that's really the way it is. Unfortunately, Twitter is blowing up, and it's not able to simulcast or show on Twitter. So hopefully we got a bunch of you guys, got 126 you guys just chilling with us in YouTube. So I'll take that all day long, because you guys are the loyal ones that come over here, because that's what we need. And we're so close to 6,000 subscribers. So we definitely appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel, you just been checking us out for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe, make sure you hit the like. It's free, supports the channel. But going back to the defensive line, and I get a lot of this and I understand it, and I am never going to proclaim myself to be the expert. I got to trust the people that are in place, and I got to trust it. And they say Osa's not a fit for the scheme, the 3-4, what they're trying to do. And I know Lewis, I saw him talk about it. He asked Vach about it earlier, and he said they're looking for speed off the edge. And I really think that the Cowboys going to a 3-4, it's just, I don't think Osa fits kind of what they want. And you're talking about the man from the Chargers. He's a 3-4 guy. He's a nose tackle. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm saying, when you see the Cowboys make that move, it makes you think, all right, Quinnen Williams on one side, you got Kenny Clark on the other, or is that going to be rotational with Kenny Clark doing the nose? But it just seems to be that is the way they're building this defense. And it's got to be, you got to get guys to fit what you want. And I think the Cowboys, Solomon Thomas, he's a 4-3 guy. He didn't really fit what they wanted. And White Cotton, I believe, is in Tennessee. So it made sense for him to kind of go there. Osa, our great defensive coordinator from last year, is on the staff now of San Francisco. So maybe he wants to bring a guy over there. I don't know if that's the reason. But when you're looking at what the Cowboys have done so far in free agency, all right, from the very beginning of re-signing, Javonte Williams to where they're at now, the trades to get picks, how are you guys feeling? I mean, you guys in the chat, let us know. But more importantly, I need my man Kelly K9, because he's getting in Twitter fights with people defending some of these signings, but maybe he's changing his tune. Did someone change your mind on what they're doing here, or where are we at?
So here's the thing. I got me and Parsons, Parsons' brother, we got into it on Twitter because we were talking about he was talking about Rashawn Gary, saying he was a top 100 player, put some respect on his name. We get Rashawn Gary, and all of a sudden Rashawn Gary is just absolute trash garbage, right?
Yeah.
I said that I did not mind the Rashawn Gary move. I thought that it was a good move at the time, because I did not think that he was going to be the guy we were going to go with. And now I've heard different reports from the front office, through Jane Slater, through different people, that the Cowboys have said that, not that they're not going to make any more moves, that they might not draft a pass rusher, but that they were out on last night, they were out on the Crosby deal, which again, if they're out on Max Crosby because of injury, which is not the case from what I heard just as short as 45 minutes ago, I heard that the Cowboys would still be in on Crosby, but not at the price that they were initially at, because obviously there's something there with the knee. Either he's not going to be fully ready to go at the beginning. I don't exactly know what it is. Nobody's really come out and said for sure. I'm fine with them being out on Crosby, but not fine on them being out on Crosby because they got Rashawn Gary. My problem with Rashawn Gary is when we got him, I thought, okay, rotational piece.
He's not a rotational piece, but go ahead.
Listen, here's my thing. I know he's not a rotational piece because he's $21 million on the books. My problem is if we don't restructure him this year, which is a possibility, you got him on the books for $21 million a year.
Let's not talk about the money.
My problem with that. Here's my problem, though. Here's my problem, Mike. Yeah. My problem is you trade a fourth round and you're going to pay him that kind of money when you could have went out and you could have got any one of these linebackers, these free agents linebackers. You could have got any one of them for a fraction of that cost. I think the highest was Lloyd. I think he got 15 mil a year, I think is what he was getting. None of these linebackers got crazy deals. None of them. I absolutely would have. Did somebody say Gary restructured to 11 million today?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's our insider. Rick is our insider. I mean, he's the one who corrects us.
I have not seen that yet. Yeah. I cannot verify that. All I can tell you right now is that Rashawn Gary does not really move my needle. Do I think he's garbage? No. Who do you think?
I mean, if you're gonna compare him to somebody, what are you?
I'd say a lesser version. I'd say he's a lesser version of DeMarcus Lawrence.
I wouldn't say he's a lesser version. I would say he's pretty damn similar to DeMarcus. If you look at their numbers and you look at kind of what they've done, he's never had less than 7.5 sacks. He's a very good run defender.
Except for his rookie year, he had 2 sacks. Rookie year, he only had 2.
What are we splitting hair? What are you?
I just said we got to be accurate.
You corrected me too. All right, no, but I think he is what this defense needs, right? If you're running 3-4, he's going to be that guy on the edge for them. Could be a linebacker as well if they want it, however they want to do it. But he's a run stuffer, and he had 60 pressures last year. It's not like he never gets to the quarterback. And pressures lead to turnovers. I don't really get caught up in the sack numbers, and I'll state my case on that in case someone here wants to challenge me on that. But I would say the pressures are important, and I just think I like him as a player. Now, would you love to get another pass rusher with him? I do. But I'm just not going to panic and flip out yet, because I think what they've done on the defensive line, and we'll just start there, is I think we're a better team today with the defensive line than we were last season. That's just my opinion.
I think with our defensive front, yes. I think if you're talking about the off the ball linebackers, which is what they got Rashawn Gary listed at, you've got Gary Ezeraku and you've got Maurice Leofau.
I think we're better. Then what we'll include, if you're running a 3-4 to your point, okay, we got our stand up, we'll throw those. I still think they're better.
Yeah, I think our front defense. I don't think we're better though. I think because you got Ezeraku, who's got an injury that he's going to take him a while to recover. He's got an injury, and not only that, I'm not sure that he's shown that he's a guy. We drafted him in a 4-3 defense to go for the 4-3 defense, now you
watched him from Boston College. He's a stand-up guy.
He is. I'm just saying, from what I've seen of him last year, if that's what we're going with, if it's Gary and Ezeraku and Maurice Leofau or our guys that are off the ball,
would you say Overshown too?
I would throw Overshown in there. Yeah, he's got to be thrown in there. But look, I'm looking at this defense right now, as of today. Right now, I think this defense is worse than they were last year at Week 16. I think with Ezeraku injured, with Deron Bland injured, with Revel.
He ain't missing no games. He's going to be there at training camp. What? So he can't run today?
I'm just telling you right now. I think this defense is worse. I do. I don't think they're any better.
I would.
I think when you got rid of Osa, I think that ultimately is what makes you think they're worse
for this defense. So do you want Eberflus? Like, how great was our defense with Osa last year? Was he? I mean, did I miss something? Are we talking about? Did we have DeMarcus Ware on our team that I missed? Did this defense suck last year? And
no, this defense was terrible. But Rashawn Gary is not moving the needle for me. And that's what we got. If you want to talk about the guys that we got, look, you lost Osa. Osa, okay, let's say he's a bad fit. But you brought in Rashawn Gary, which again, I'm just not a fan of him at all. I thought he would when they before
got to you.
No, before I looked at his contract, before I saw what his contract was, I thought, okay, you know what, this guy's going to be a nice little piece for us. And then I look and I see I see how much he makes. Then I start all right, I'm gonna have to look into this guy and see how this guy is. And I've seen from both sides. I've seen the guys, Vok, that went down there and he broke down the tape, talked about him. He's got a high motor and everything. And people sit there and they're going to look at sacks. I don't look at sacks when it comes to a guy like that, because if I look at him like a DeMarcus Lawrence was not a sack guy. He was a pressure guy. Where are the sacks going to come from, though? Because you're going to need them. Pressure. Listen, Dallas, I don't know. I looked this up earlier this year. Dallas was 5th in pressures last year.
Okay.
And still, that defense was absolute ass.
If you have shitty linebackers and shitty cornerbacks, I don't care.
Well, wait, who's our linebackers right now? Who's our middle linebacker?
We're going to go through the line. But I just want to say, who is the best defense in the NFL was last year? Give me top 3 defenses in the NFL.
Denver, Seattle.
Okay, Seattle.
Seattle had the number 1 defense. One.
All right. Give me their number 1 sack guy, and how many sacks did he have?
7 sacks, and I cannot pronounce his name. It's like UNAI or something like that.
They had 7. 3 guys had 7 sacks. DeMarcus Lawrence had 6 sacks. As a team, they had 47 sacks. Denver had 68 sacks. So what I'm saying is, and to your point, Murphy, obviously Williams, we know him. The guy you can't pronounce. What I'm saying is, those aren't household names. With the problem I have with Cowboys, and not you, Kelly, because I love you and I respect you. A lot of Cowboy fans get caught up in names. They get caught up in big names. And what I'm trying to say is, I'm tired of the big names. All the guys that, what did we do? And I love Micah Parsons, but what did we end up doing with Micah Parsons? I want to get guys that love and eat and sleep football. And I just think they're doing that. And I do trust this defensive staff, and you're changing the scheme. So things are going to be different. Osa is a great guy, and I love him, but he's not a fit for the scheme. So do you want to keep him? Because everyone says, people shit on him, but now when he leaves, everyone's like, oh my God, how are we going to do with Osa? And do you want him to stay here and be a backup because he doesn't fit the scheme and pay him $20 million?
No, I don't. I think as soon as you made the trade for Gary, I think that the writing was on the wall that Osa had to go.
Yeah.
My problem with it was this. I would have much rather the Cowboys address the linebacker position, which I think is a bit. I think they get a linebacker. Any one of them linebackers I would have rather had. And then if you do that, then you trade Osa, then you've got a 3rd round pick. Package your way up and maybe move up in the 1st round and get one of them pass rushers. Get a Bain, get a David Bailey. I would have much rather done that than to bring in Rashawn Gary. I would. And I'm not trying to shit on him. Who knows? Maybe he'll end up being some great.
The draft hasn't happened yet. So I don't want you. The draft hasn't happened yet. So I don't want you because here, I'm just going to throw a name out there. And if they come back and we got overshown, on one side, and we're running 3-4 as a Raku, and then you got some dude from Texas Tech named Rodriguez coming in the middle. I mean, Kelly might be like, hey, man, this defense is pretty damn good.
Listen, I'm just saying from right now. So I know somebody else here said we still have our two 1st round picks. I'm just saying right now, I would not say that this defense is better. I say they're about the same. I really do. I
don't think we're leaps and bounds better, but I think they're moving in the right direction. And what I'm doing is I'm adding the staff. I like what they've done with the staff. And I know you do too. I mean, I think you
I
love
do. I do.
I think that you're getting guys from that are position coaches and others from other really solid defenses that have pedigree. So that's what I am kind of like. So I am maybe looking at the bigger, not the player names, but I'm looking at the bigger picture, and I'm seeing what they're doing and the names that I'm going down the list with the two safeties that they got. And I don't know how you feel
like
about
those guys.
We're going to go to that.
I like the safety. Well, I think one of them is a rotational safety. The guy we got from Arizona, I really like him. That dude is a tackler.
But I will tell you this. I went in, my brother's a big Broncos fan. I went in, I said, hey, man, we just signed. I said, PJ Locke is gone. I said, we just got him. And he was pissed. He said, he's good. He played in the last 5 games. He got some stuff going. He's a hitter. He's versatile. So we don't know. And a lot of times when you get some of these guys, it's like I threw out the Seattle. I could throw out New England. I mean, they're not household names, and their defenses were in the Super Bowl. I mean, they had Harold Landry. And I guess I'm not an expert in everything, but Harold Landry was the leading sack person for the Super Bowl New England Patriots. So I guess what I'm saying is get some dogs, because our money is in the offense. Our money is tied in the big star guys are in the offense. Get some dogs on defense. And I'm just hoping, and I'm putting out hope, that they did that with the safeties and with what they did in the line. To your point, and to you guys, I don't know what we're going to look in the chat to see if anyone's talking to me, but is our linebackers are a problem. And if they don't fix it, we're going to
defensive backs too.
Defensive backs too. I mean, it's going to be tough. It's and there are some cornerbacks out there. There's still some cornerbacks out there. So it's not over yet. So I'm not throwing it. And I know you're not either. But if they went out and they got Allen from Georgia, I mean, this is a linebacker that called the plays for the defense. Now, I'm not saying he took what the coach said and repeated it. He called the plays for the defense. He's a smart kid. And if he could be there at 20, Rodriguez, I know you're high on. We get this 3rd round pick. Maybe the Cowboys maneuver that first. And let's say there is that run on D ends and they go, you know what? There's some cornerbacks there. We could probably slide down, maybe slide enough to get a 2, whatever it is. And now you're cooking with, all right, maybe they get a corner. They get a linebacker. You get Rodriguez. You get Allen. You maybe get Keontae Scott. Maybe you get my guy from Miami. Now you got some dogs on your team that's got some youth and some veterans. So I'm just saying there are concerns. We're just messing around. But I'm not. I don't think I think the Cowboys are actually doing good business for the football team. I think they're putting the coaching what they want and the team first, rather than the kind of like Jerry in the spotlight and doing all that bullshit. I think they're running they're trading guys that you didn't think they'd trade. They're making trades, which we didn't think they'd do. I just think it's been refreshing. And I know it hasn't been for you, but it's been refreshing for me.
So my whole thing is my thing is this though. To me, it just seems like rinse and repeat with the Cowboys though. It feels like they're doing the same thing they always do. How many times are we going to get a former 1st round player that has not really lived up to expectations and think that he's going to turn around in 1st round form in Dallas?
Expectations.
Rashawn Gary's a 1st round player. Kenneth Murray.
Wow,
Kenneth Murray last year.
Put some goddamn respect on his name, right?
Kenneth Murray. He has not lived up to. Listen, he would not be on our team for a 4th round pick if he lived up to his name.
No, because what is he? 31? I mean, he's 30, whatever it is. I mean,
he's still pretty young. He's still pretty young. He's on a 2nd deal.
He has been he's been a starter. He's been a leader on a team. I don't know how you could say that. I'm blasphemy.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my problem. And this is what I did look into. And I heard that D-Law said he talked about, the Rashawn Gary thing, that he got a lot of pressures. Listen, 7 consecutive games without Micah Parsons not having a sack. Okay. All right. Didn't have a sack. Okay. We're sitting there. We're going to dismiss sacks and say sacks don't mean anything. But what do we talk about when DeMarcus Lawrence? What was everybody frustrated with when DeMarcus Lawrence, when he left, and said, okay, look, he's good at setting the edge, he's run, but we need somebody to when Mike is getting double teamed, we needed somebody to be able to beat single teams and get to the quarterback, and he just is never able to do that, right? All right, now we are in a different defensive scheme. It's a 3-4. It's going to be run different. Christian Parker, listen, I've got faith in this defensive staff. But if you're sitting there and you're telling me that Rashawn Gary is going to be our best defensive end, then I'm looking at this like I was last year when the Cowboys went in and before the Kenny Clark, they had Kenny Clark, but I said, listen, outside of him, our defensive tackles are ass. They had to make a trade, give up a first round pick to get in Quinnen Williams. I'm not what you're going to need. If this is the way that you're going to do it and this is how you're going to go and he's your guy, okay, then you're going to have some dogs at linebacker. Whether that be through the draft or whether that be through you go make a trade and you go get somebody, you're going to have, and that's one of the most important things in the 3-4 defense is those middle linebackers. Because them are the guys that are your coverage guys. They also assist in run stoppage. I mean, those are the guys that are going to be very important to this team. You can't be lacking at that position. And right now, that's a gaping hole for the Cowboys because who's playing that position? We ain't got nobody playing that position. It ain't gonna be open.
You're not. Hey, I got to be fair. Hey, Anthony Spencer, if you want to call him that, Anthony Spencer was good with the Cowboys. I mean, he was good with the Cowboys. Obviously knee injuries took it out of him, but I just think, we don't need him to be the best. We just need him to do his job. I just think what they're changing the, and I hate to use the word culture, but I just think they're changing the identity of the defense. You talked about Jalen Thompson. He's a captain of his team. He is a smart football player. He's going to have guys in position that need to be. I think we kind of cleaned up that. And then again, you're talking about, Rashawn Gary. He's going to bring some more physicality, some toughness to this defense. So our guy from the Chargers, I'll butcher his name, but he's that big dude, man. You need, if you're running a 3-4, you need that big body like Saragusa, did for the Ravens so much, but you need that big body that's going to plug it in. And you're going to need Ezeraku. I mean, I'm not going to hype him up like Sam Williams, and we did that and get burned. But Ezeraku, if you watched him as the year went on, you saw the flashes, you saw the ability. He didn't get to he didn't finish the sacks, unfortunately, but you saw him starting to wreak havoc. You started him to get more. And there typically is with the DNs, pass rushers, they do have that. They do have the jump up. So, you are banking on youth. You are banking on Overshown being healthy and going. And I understand you're saying, well, Mike, you're saying you're banking on this. And if and buts were candies and nuts, it'd be Christmas. I get all that. We're not done yet. We're not done. What would make you happy? Someone asked. No. What is going to make you happy?
And somebody said, is the team finished? No, but I can only comment on what we got. And here's the other thing, too, though. The other thing that's pissing me off. You got Jerry Jones busting his lips again, and it's my fault for buying in. It's my fault for saying he's going to be different. Jerry Jones talking about busting the budget. What fucking budget have you busted? What budget have you busted?
They have the most players making over $20 million a year. So you want to talk about money? They have the most players.
Because you're giving a guy $21 million that was about to get cut, and Rashawn Gary, ain't no way he was getting $21 million.
You are paying. They are paying guys. So that's why I hate I hate to have money involved because it's like, oh, they made two signings, the trade, of course, but Jalen Thompson, 3-year, $33 million or whatever, 36, whatever it was for safety. I mean, they are spending their money. They're over the cap. I mean, they have the guys up. So I don't want to use.
Well, they're under it. They're under it now.
But I'm just saying this. Right up to the cap. I'm just saying that they are not like the New England Patriots were one year. The Raiders were going in the offseason. They got like $200 million under the cap. They'll spend no money. The Cowboys are spending the money. I would just say the Green Bay Packers had a pretty good defense the years that he was there. The Cardinals were always pretty solid, and you're getting guys from spots. Now, if they get the linebacker, I don't know if it would happen, but the one from Denver, what if they get him? What if they get Levante David? What if they get, another veteran inside? I think Wagner's probably kind of, he's probably, maybe washed up by now. I'm just trying to think of some of the guys that were still out there that they can get. I mean, they showed it. There's still some linebackers out there. They got to get to me. They got to get a veteran and then pair him up with Allen or Rodriguez.
Yeah,
and I would say this: I would not hate the Cowboys if they got Rodriguez in the first round, because I know they don't have a second. And if they, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I wouldn't either. I've already said that I'd take him in the first round. I have no hesitation in doing that. So here's the thing. Like, I understand that there's still a lot of moves can be made. What I still think, though, here's my thing. I still think that I still think that they need another edge rusher, because I don't think you're set with Gary and Ezra. I don't. I think you need another rusher. You need another pass rusher, and I'd prefer it to be. I mean, I'd like it to be a guy that's going to be a guy that you can depend on. That this guy's going to have to take on some double teams because he's going to be a menace, right?
Yeah.
But if we could get another guy that was a veteran that I could depend on, maybe a Clowney. Maybe you look at bringing a guy like Clowney back. They talked about They talked about maybe they might not do that, but maybe, listen, I wouldn't be against it, but I think we still got to get another pass rusher. I think you got to get at least one linebacker, possibly two linebackers that you could use here, but at least one. And then I think you got to get yourself a defensive back. I think you need another cornerback, right? At least one. So I'm looking at 3 spots, and all 3 of those spots, you need guys that are going to be productive. And so I'm looking at that, and that means that the Cowboys on their first, that pick 12, pick 20, can't miss on either one of those. And then that still leaves another spot. And your next spot, you're not grabbing till the 3rd. So I would prefer them to go out and get somebody, like you said, like a veteran. I don't think that you're filling those 3 positions in the draft. And my other frustration is this. I'm not so much caught up on the names, because I've seen that in the chat. Everyone's like, Cowboys fans are obsessed with the names. And I know you had kind of mentioned the names. But I mean, in terms of free agency, now, granted, we traded for Pickens year before last. I can't get greedy. Obviously, I can't get too greedy when it comes to stuff like that. But I'm saying, when is the last time that you can remember that the Cowboys went out and snagged an impact free agent on the first day of signings? Because here's the thing. I can look back to a team that's just recently won the Super Bowl, in the Philadelphia Eagles, and they seem to get a free agent player in the first wave of free agency every single year. Almost every single year they seem to grab one. You look at teams, some of the teams that are out there that are constantly competing and constantly trying to get better. Look at the Chiefs. The Chiefs, they come out. They seem to be a player in free agency. So my problem is not so much about the big name guys. It's not about the name. It's about the production. Yeah. What are you getting? Are you getting proven production? Are you getting a guy that you are fully comfortable with? I got this guy on my roster. I feel 100% comfortable giving him a new contract or paying the contract that he currently has. Because I saw that we structured, and I'm not going to sit there and try to get too much of the money. I see somebody said we restructured Rashawn Gary, and we got him down to $11 million. And if that's good, then if that's what they got him to, great. But I'm looking at what you get, what you're getting other guys that are similar to that. Run stoppers, not necessarily great pass rush guys. A DeMarcus Lawrence making $13 million a year up in Seattle, still being a really a good impact player, right? So you want to just have that extra money so that you can spread it around, because it looks like that's what we're doing on the defense, is trying to spread this thing around versus spend a ton, right? Restructuring Clark, trying to, got to restructure for Quentin Williams, like all these things, right? They all kind of add up. So it'd be nice for the Cowboys, especially when you get Jerry Jones talking about how aggressive they need. Now, granted, Nakobe Dean, who saw that happening? Nakobe Dean picking the Raiders over the Cowboys. I don't think anybody saw that. But the Cowboys, my problem was the Cowboys did not have a pivot to another guy. You can't push all your chips in on one guy and Nakobe Dean and then everybody else is already signed. You turn around, you're like, oh shit, all the other linebackers are gone. You got Lloyd gone. Because there was several linebackers out there that the Cowboys could have drafted that would have made me feel 1,000 times better. 1,000 times better. Now, again, free agency, not over. Draft hasn't even happened yet. A lot of things can happen. But my confidence level right now and where I rate the free agency so far, I said it the other day, I'm not pushing off it yet. I give him a C-. The best move.
Do players performing in bigger games matter to you? Does that does that sway you in any way?
Players, oh, absolutely. I mean, because you look that was
Rashawn
no,
Gary.
I know. I posted that.
Hey, I'm pulling your receipts out.
Four and a half sacks in 8 games, and then Micah Parsons has 1 sack in 4 games. I posted on Twitter the other day. I said they're basically the same person in the playoffs.
No, they're more. 4 times. I've Broward County education. 4 times, 1 time in 8 games. That's 2 sacks. He's 4.5. So he's double the production, more than double the production. I'm just kidding, but I think it was a good move. I don't really worry about the money so much, but he's a big dude. He's a good run stuffer. I think the Cowboys missed Tank Lawrence, so I think he's just another version of Tank Lawrence. And if he is, then I'm going to be happy. But I do agree, the linebacker is a concern. I know there's some out there. They trade Osa. They saved, I think it was $6 million. Was it $6 or $7 million between really Solomon and Osa? So maybe $7 million. So they still have room to work with. So it's not done. And there are some guys still there. And I think the problem that we had, if you really look at this free agency period, is there wasn't the huge guy. You know what I mean? It just wasn't. I mean, these are all solid NFL players, some, above maybe Pro Bowl level, but it's not like there was all pro guys running around.
Well, your best, your best 2 pass rushers in free agency were both guys coming off injuries.
Yeah.
Those are your best 2 guys, Hendricks and Crosby.
Jalen Phillips is, he's Miami. I love the guy. How would you been hyped up if they paid him that contract at Dallas?
I mean, that was a pretty hefty contract, and he's also got some injury issues himself. So
yeah, you talk about Gary. I don't think he's had more than 5.5 sacks in a year.
Yeah,
he's a pass rushing spec. That's his gig. That's his gig. So I would just say if Max Crosby, what is your all right, let's say we work it out and maybe the Cowboys are, but what are you willing to give for him? Because they can make it work with the money. They can restructure stuff because they have gaps that, in the next years that they can work it. What picks? You're going to have to give up a 1 this year. So if you say, all right, would you give up the 12th for him?
I'd want to keep that at this point.
The 20th. You give up the 20th?
I would have to. I'm not a doctor. I would trust the doctors. If the Cowboys doctor says that he's a guy that can be productive on the field this year, and there's not any risk of him further injuring it or needing further surgeries or anything like that, then yes, I would, because I think Max Crosby is a great. You add him to this defense, and then all of a sudden now I'm feeling a little bit different.
So 20th and maybe next year's too.
It depends, though, on that injury, though, because they've talked about the Cowboys. They said now that the Cowboys offer, from what I saw, it said that the Cowboys would be interested in Max Crosby, but now things would be different. So I don't know if that means that the Raiders end up eating some of the cap money. I don't know if that means that it's a 1 and maybe a 3 now or something. I don't know how much the price goes down, because I don't know that the injury level and what it is. I don't know, because there's been a lot of mixed messages. There's nobody really coming out straight and saying exactly what it was. But I would be up for giving the 20, and I would feel a whole lot better, because at pick 20, if Max Crosby comes back and he comes back to form, granted he was injured last year, but he played through that injury the last, I think, 4 or 5 games of the season.
I think he's all right. I don't ever remember him being injury prone, but I don't.
No, he's not an injury prone guy. He's one of those guys that's got a high motor, and that guy, every time who really watches the Raiders? Nobody ever watches the Raiders unless for some reason they're on prime time. But the only time I watch the Raiders, anytime I watch them, I see Max Crosby jumping off the screen. The dude is a dog, and you don't get guys like that very often. So yes, I'd be all over it.
He's played in 104 out of 110 games.
Yeah, and the Predator. I'm telling you, I see that keeps commenting about names. I don't give a shit about names. But last year we got a bunch of moves too. Everybody keeps saying Jerry's moving around. You know how many free agent guys they picked up last year? A lot. They didn't mean shit.
but
Kenneth Murray, Sanborn. How many people were saying that Kenneth Murray is a tackling machine?
They're early moves.
They got him last, but it don't matter if this early or not. I remember last year, everybody's telling me, "Oh, Kenneth Murray's a tackling machine. Sanborn with Eberflus is going to do great." Neither one of them fools did shit.
We wrong about Eberflus. I'll be the first to admit that I didn't think he was great, but I thought he'd be solid. I mean, he's always been a solid defensive coordinator. And I got texts from people. Oh man, Sanborn, you're gonna love him there. I sent my buddy, he's a Bears fan. I said, you were just effing with me, man. You were playing a trick on me. He never even saw him. Murray just is lost. So we're better defense. We don't have those two guys. How do you say we're not better? We just got rid of two. You just named the two worst. We got rid of. We got to be better.
I know, but I'm telling you, last year people were saying the same thing. Last year people were saying, look at Jerry signing people, because I remember I was pissed last year. And people, Jerry's making moves, and now you upset. Jerry's signing players.
We are here for the people, and I just got this, and Michael agreed with him, so I have to read it. Kelly K9 needs to reevaluate his takes. He made it.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do squat. People are hooked on big names in free agency. Big names don't mean shit. Get productive players. Oh, that's what you were responding to. I'm sorry.
That's what I was responding to. We didn't have big names last year at free agency.
I saw someone call your name. I did what you look. I saw someone say agreed, and I looked back, and then I saw them criticizing you. So I wanted to defend. I wanted to give you an opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, again, what did the not big names get us on defense last year? The worst fucking defense in the history of the Dallas Cowboys.
You have to admit the free agency, what we have so far is better than last year. Come on, you got to be fair.
I would say right. I would. I can't judge that until I see this on the field, man. Listen, the safety that we got, is probably the best move we've made so far. I'm gonna have to see Rashawn Gary on the field and see what he does under Christian Parker.
6 years.
What's that?
And you've seen him for 6 years, Rashawn Gary. Haven't you seen him?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't never heard that dude's name in my life until we traded for him. And then I had to look him up. I didn't know who the hell Rashawn Gary was.
You didn't know Rashawn Gary? What did he do?
I did not know who Rashawn Gary was. When we played him in the playoffs, I don't remember him doing anything again. Did he get a sack against us in the playoffs when they beat our ass?
I'm looking at the game logs. Let's look at the playoff game logs and see if the playoffs against the Dallas Cowboys that where's it at? Green Bay at Philly. Green Bay at Dallas. No. He had a hit, but no sacks. He didn't get any.
Okay, well, I mean, so here's the thing. I don't watch a ton of other teams, and I'm not gonna know other people's rosters like that. I know with inside the NFC East, I could probably name you most of the guys on the Giants, the Eagles, all those teams. Green Bay, I don't know these teams. I know who the hell Rashawn Gary was until I see Rashawn Gary. I look him up, see his defensive end, start looking into him a little bit. I'm like, oh, this ain't a bad move, man. This guy, I see his production totals, and I'm like, it's not too bad of a move. But then what bugged me the most was I seen the contract. And then I started seeing some of the things about, Rashawn Gary, he's got a lack of effort, this stuff. Now, there's been some Cowboys content creators out there that have come into it, put some stuff on film and said that that's not the case, that they don't know where that came from. But I will tell you there is a and here's the thing, you could probably find this on any player in the league, but I will tell you, I've seen a couple clips of Rashawn Gary jogging to the quarterback and Micah Parsons blowing by his ass to get the quarterback when Rashawn Gary looks like he's jogging. So I don't like that. I don't care if it's one time, two times. A lack of effort is something you cannot excuse, in my opinion. Now, are there guys that are going to be doing it? There's guys that are out there that half-ass routes. There's guys that But that's one of the things that's been a criticism of. You go over to Green Bay, and here's the thing. I'm not just going to sit here and take the sugar coating from all the Cowboys content creators who are going to pump up this guy because they don't want to talk anything negative about him. But I'm not going to take all the negative stuff about Green Bay either. I want to take a mixture of both, and then I want to look into it and evaluate it myself. And how I come away feeling from Rashawn Gary right now is I feel like he doesn't move the needle for me. It doesn't. But guess what I'm going to do? I'm not going to sit here and trash him, say he's terrible, say he's ass. I'm going to let Christian Parker and his defensive staff, I'm going to let those guys go out there and prove me wrong. Show me that he is something that's going to make this defense better. And prove me wrong. I mean, we can mark the tape right now. I'm not calling him ass, but I am not a Rashawn Gary guy. I'm not a guy sitting there going like, man, this guy's moving it.
Rashawn Gary jersey because he started off on fire and all this and that. You're screaming his name. I'm going to play this loud and proud, and it's going to say Rashawn Gary. I'm just not sold on.
You know what? And guess what? I will happily say I was wrong, but I also want you to remember that last year I said that before the season started, that I said I thought this defense would be one of the worst in the league. We ended up being the worst in the league. I've got tweets. I've got tweets of that too, where I said this defense was going to be complete ass, and they were complete ass. So I didn't have faith in this defense last year. And this year, the only thing to me that has changed so far that really, really got me is I think that Christian Parker, has the possibility to be a way better coordinator than Eberflus. We ain't seen him be a defensive coordinator yet.
On now, get Kelly a Gary. We're going to get you a Gary jersey. We're going to get you right. So we're going to get this thing.
Listen, man, they can still do some things in the draft. They can still make some moves to kind of pull me back in. I'm not trying to be overly negative, but I'm also just not one of them guys that every single move is a good move, because I've seen too much of that. Every single move for the sake of making a move is not a good move, because we've seen them.
I would say, I'm not one of those, like I'm not going to say I think every move obviously has good intentions. I mean, you got to see how it works out. But I think moves that aren't made, that's where the problems start more than anything. And you're not addressing, if you don't address linebacker and you don't address cornerback, then all these moves that you're making aren't going to help, because we all know that that's a major problem in this defense. So I'm the stance of, I like the moves they made, because I think if you look at them, it fits what they want to do in the defense. It fits what he's putting his stamp on this defense. And I applaud the Cowboys for doing that. But if they don't address the cornerback situation that we have, or the middle linebacker, the inside linebacker, then all these moves could look bad. And you could say, hey, the defense stinks. And then we're going to have to say, well, I mean, shit, we didn't do anything in inside linebacker. We didn't do anything at cornerback. I mean, we made a great defensive front. We got, depth in the front, and we didn't do anything else. So that's where I'm just saying is I want to see what I got to see what they're going to do at linebacker, because I think they need to get a veteran at each level. I think they need a veteran linebacker, a veteran cornerback. I think then they could draft a cornerback, and I think they draft a linebacker, and I would do backflips. There was someone in the chat, I think it might have been DJ. He sent me his mock draft, and he had us getting cornerback, and then trading up and getting Rodriguez. And I'm like, or no, Allen. It was Allen. I apologize. But it was Allen, which I don't know if he'd be there in a second. But if it was Allen or Rodriguez, if you gave me that for our first 3 picks, I would be doing backflips down the street, but I mean, the Cowboys need to do a little bit more. They're not done yet. No, but
they're not done yet. And again, where I guess if I was going to end anything on a positive note, if I was going to try to give somebody, if I was going to try to get somebody they're like, give us something positive. I would say where I would give this defense the edge is the staff. Yeah. I think we've got a better staff that is set up to bring more energy to this defense and be better schematically. But in anything you look at, right, these are all ingredients to a bigger. They're all ingredients to a bigger recipe, right? And the recipe is going to be success, obviously, right? But you got many many ingredients in every recipe, and you can't throw a cook mediocre ingredients and expect a 5-star meal. You got to provide him with the keys to success. Now, here's the other thing that I got to say to temper expectations too is that, this defense was bad. And yes, schematically bad, but also there was a lot of lack of talent. We've got some good pieces on this defense, though. Quinnen Williams is a great piece, and Kenny Clark, it starts up front. And I've always said, build in the trenches, start from the front, build your way back. I think that's kind of how you do it. And pretty much it showed successful in college. It showed successful in, look at that Seattle defense. They had the number 1 defense, but they were stout, all across that front, right? Didn't have any guys, double-digit sacks. That's great, right? Yeah. That defense wasn't built overnight, though. That defense wasn't built in one offseason. It's one of those things where, look, we got an incredible offense. What we need is about a mediocre defense, right? We need a defense to get to about middle of the pack. If we can get there, then this team can compete, and this team can, they can win double-digit games. I still believe that.
Yeah.
So I'm not sitting here saying that I think the Cowboys are going to be terrible. I just think that right now they've still got work to do before I can sit here and feel comfortable about this defense being significantly better than they were last year, which is what they're going to have to do. Because when you're at the bottom, to get to that middle of the pack, you got to be significantly better. You can't just be a little bit better. You got to be significantly better. We're talking about 15 slots better. That's what we need. Then you're going to need some guys that are going to be difference makers on this defense.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we got a super chat, so we got to show our man Mark. Aloha. What's up, my man? Yes, we traded Osa. Nope, we did not sign Trey. No way I want Crosby. No way. No, he wants Crosby, right? He wants Crosby. He'd be a move.
Yeah, I want Crosby.
Yeah, he's a one. And and a lot of people talk about it with Haley, that kind of move. I think it would be. I think if they got a dynamic pass rusher, yeah, I mean, it could change things. It definitely could change things up. And I would tell people again, go look at Charles Haley. He wasn't putting up all, the sack leader typically was on the team in the 90s. It was Tony Tolbert. It wasn't Charles Haley. Charles Haley created it. So that's why people get caught up in all the numbers of everything. Don't get caught up in the numbers. And then I saw Ruben Bain. I would do again, I might streak if we get Ruben Bain, if he were to fall to 12. And people are criticizing him, and I would love to get him. Anybody with a chip on the shoulder. I've watched him play since he was a freshman, and he wrecks havoc. And so if he were to fall to 3 and he's going to be, they put him outside and yeah, I would be very happy with that one. I don't know about you, Kelly. Would you be happy with that? Or you still be mad?
No, I'd be happy. If we get a legit pass rusher that I know that I'm like, this dude can get after the quarterback, and he's going to wreak havoc. Like, that's what I want. Like,
Bailey and Rodriguez. I mean, does that change it? Bailey and Rodriguez. Now, are you going to change your tune on everything?
Well, of course. Of course I would, because I think David Bailey I think him and Bain are the 2 best passers. I'm not trying to take anything away from Bain, but I think it's 1A and 1B in those. I don't think you can really go wrong with them. And I think when you look at them, when you look at the pass rushers from in college football and how they're ranked, they're right there too, 1A, 1B, right? Both of those guys do. And this is what I wish that, you had with Rashawn Gary, is I wish that you had a guy. It would make me sleep a whole lot better if you had a guy that could not only get after the quarterback, but could also stop the run, because you are going to get that with either David Bailey or Bain. Both those guys can not only get double-digit sacks, they can also set the edge and stop the run. And I don't see why it has to be one or the other. I'd preferably would like to have a guy that's on the edge that can do both. They can be a menace after the quarterback, and they can also stop the run. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You can't have a guy that does both. And I think both those guys would fill that role very nicely, and it would make me feel a whole lot better.
I think Crosby's that kind of guy, though, isn't he?
He is, which would make me feel a ton better which is why I'm still in on getting a guy like Crosby. I'm fine. I think that the Cowboys I think that on this defense, they've got 3 spots they really need to address. And again, I think that's the linebacker position. I think they need another pass rusher, and I think they need a DB. If they can get those three positions addressed, then come the start of the season, I'm going to feel 1,000 times better about this team. Listen, I don't want this defense to be bad. I was out here putting it 2026, we're going to win the Super Bowl because I was, overly optimistic. And I'm hearing Jerry tell me all these.
A $500 bet you put on someone, and now you're probably praying that happy no one took that.
Yeah, well, I got bets with, I still got the sports bookie bets that I've made for whatever, but listen, I've got a tweet out there, and don't think that tweet won't come back to haunt me if the Cowboys have a losing season or go one and done in the playoffs. Listen, I want this team to be successful, and everybody has a different vision. Everybody has a different opinion. Here's the one thing that I will say. I get passionate about it. And I get passionate about it on Twitter. But what I'm not going to do is call people dumb. I'm not going to sit there and disparage people. I'm not going to call people stupid because everybody's got a different opinion. Just because you don't agree with my opinion, don't make my opinion right. Don't make your opinion right. Don't make my opinion wrong. Don't make your opinion wrong. They're opinions. Everybody's going to have one. Everybody's going to feel a certain kind of way. I think at the end of the day, what it comes down to is there is 30 years of frustration boiling within this fan base of not getting this shit done. And I think everybody is frustrated. And there are people who want to grab on to every glimmer of hope, and they hold on to everything, and all they have is positive things to say, and they don't want to say anything negative because then that negativity starts to creep that maybe it might be 31 years. And then there's the people like me that are like just fed up, and they're just like, if they're not seeing things happen that they think need to happen, they're like, God damn it, we need this to happen to get us this damn Super Bowl. And then I get pissed. And it's not me being negative. It's me. It's my frustration coming out is what it is. That's what it boils down to. But I'll tell you what, it's all passion. It's all passion.
I love the passion. I love the passion. And Mark, he's thinking maybe this 30-day binge of views, it's messing you up. It's got you all messed up inside. We need to get you a drink. We need to get
you know what? I haven't. Here's the thing, man. I haven't drank. I haven't drank in a little while. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just very pissed. But I just think that there you go, Cuts. And that's the thing is there's too many people that sit out there and will call you dumb. Now I'll have a heated, passionate argument with somebody on why I think they're wrong.
You and Parsons, typically I see it get very volatile between when he gets going with someone. And you guys, it was a good debate. I enjoyed it. It was funny. You guys left, everything cool. There's no hard feelings. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. I thought you handled it well. I gave you the decision, in my opinion. Maybe I'm biased because you're my friend, but I thought you handled it well. And I always love when people bring up all the stuff that they said. When you got the screen.
I came with receipts.
Yeah, it's always my favorite. It's one of my favorite things in social media is when they pull out everything you said, and then the person has to go, "Well, I
gotta remember they didn't mean it." Gotta remember when people, the internet. Like I told him, the internet's forever, buddy. It was just like a week ago when he was saying this stuff, and then he was trying to backpedal and say he didn't say that. So no. And
real quick evaluation because he was asking. I put it up there. Just Akeem Mesidor, I would be very happy with him if we got him at 20. I think he was playing in the playoffs and sometimes better than Bane. Now, obviously, it helps to have Bane on the other side. So I don't want to, dismiss how good Bane is. But Mesidor, people knock him because he's a little bit older, but who cares? He's 25. He's mature. He's ready to go. He would be a guy that you could drop in and start right away. So I love Mesidor. Sorry about that, Kelly. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, end of the day, if I ever have any back and forths with people on Twitter or on here or in the chat or anything, I don't ever want anybody to take that personal because honestly, here's my thing: I'm never going to come at you sideways over a disagreement unless you come out and you're disrespectful to me. When somebody sits there and call me in, the first thing they say, they want to call me, they say, you're an idiot, you're stupid, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know football. That's not the way to get me to. You do that, and then my gloves come off, and I'm calling you every name in the book, along with throwing out the football stuff. But I'm just saying, I don't personally like to take it there. So as long as nobody else takes it there, I don't take it there either. And I think at the end of the day, I think everybody that comes in the Cowboys cave, we all got the same passion, and we all want the same thing. And that's just another Super Bowl, man. So that's what the fun of this is breaking it down.
And the one thing you don't get from this channel is, neither one of us are ever going to denounce our love for the Cowboys.
No.
And that we're not a fan anymore. It'll never happen once. Now I know it's happened, multiple times. It'll never happen. I promise you, it'll never happen once. Because if it happens once, the Cowboys caves over. It's over. It'll never happen. But yeah, so it's just passion fans, and I love all those guys. They got passion too, and a lot of them are friends. But it is always funny that when things go south, everyone leaves, and then they come right back the next week, and realize we're all where the bread's buttered. Bread's buttered with the Cowboys are the most talked about team. But I'd love to get a number 2 for the kicker. So I was actually going to ask you this, Kelly, and I appreciate Mark for doing that, bringing it up, because if he was offered number 1 money and still wanted more with this offense, you don't need a pricey kicker. So they showed what's his name, the kicker from Houston got $6.5 million.
Yeah.
His field goal percentage is higher than Aubrey, but Aubrey does kick those over 60s and yada yada,
Yeah.
whatever it is. Would you trade? Would you sacrifice Aubrey for the 2nd round pick if someone wanted to do it? And you got Rodriguez. I mean, is that a trade that you would do all day, every day if someone wanted to do that?
I'd be torn on that, man, because you know how much I want a Jacob Rodriguez. But the thing is that Aubrey really is a weapon, man. My whole thing is this: if Aubrey's wanting $8 million and the Cowboys got an offer on the table for 7.5, split the difference, man. Just get him signed. I would prefer to have him signed just because I think that he is a weapon to where, again, you don't have to give very many yards before you're in field goal. But if you get
it cuts this point, because when you really look at, because we're so in love with him.
I agree.
But
no.
Other kickers.
End of the day, when it comes down to, that's why I say I'm torn by it because of the weapon that he is. But at the end of the day, you are seeing kickers do a whole lot better now.
Yeah.
That kicker, what is his name? Dicker from, is it Jacksonville? Is that who that is? Is Cameron?
But Kai Fairbairn, whatever. He's the one in Houston.
He's from the Texans, but then you've got the kicker from the Jaguars that nailed like a 67-yarder. And then you got I think a Dicker plays for the Chargers. So you've got a lot of really good kickers. So would I take a 2 for him? If somebody was going to pay him what he wants to pay, yes, I wouldn't match it, and I'd take the 2. I'm going to be honest with you. I think I would do that because I think this year, especially, I think that you could use that too. And then I think you could go out and snag you a kicker because, I mean, here's the thing right now, man. You're going to have, if you can grab a 2 and that 2 turns into a defensive player that's going to be a starter on your team, I think that's more valuable right now than having a guy that can kick from 65. You know what that's going to make your offense have to do? Be a little bit more aggressive. You know what? Can't kick from 65 no more. You're going to have to make that a 55-yarder. You have to make it a 50-yarder. Your offense have to be a little more aggressive and stop the pick. Because I've heard people say it, and I felt it too. I think all of Cowboys Nation, there was times when we got aggressive and played for the field goal versus the touchdown. And I'll take touchdowns over field goals all day. You know what I mean? So I don't think that I'm turning down a number 2 pick for a kicker, no matter how good he is.
To give a 2 for a kicker. So I think what's going to happen is Aubrey's going to have to either sign the tender or get a long-term deal. So the tender's $6 million. I would be fine if the Cowboys went $7 million. I would be fine with that. It still blows my mind. My buddy Jeff and I were talking about it on Sunday. How the hell are these kickers making more than starting running backs? I mean, it just blows my mind.
Kind of crazy, right?
Starting players. I mean, there's some starting cornerbacks and starting, linebackers they're making more than. I mean, if you have a young kid, I mean, that's kind of like the game I'd be in. Now, I know there's only 32 of them, so it's a lot harder than being a other positional player where there's rotations. But I tell you, man, it is like, damn. But what is more exciting, and I got to tell you, I don't know if it's Kelly that's the anger and the frustration has brought all you guys out, but I'm looking at the numbers and we got over 4,000 people have strolled into the cave since the show began. So we definitely appreciate the love, and make sure if you guys are still hanging with you, hit that like, subscribe, and share. We also, if you're new to the channel, we do a live show on Sunday. Unfortunately, this Sunday, I am going to be out of town. So unless Kelly wants to pinch hit for me, no pressure. I'm not going to be able to do a show on Sunday. I know you're probably going to be wasted if that's your first drinking weekend. So I doubt Kelly's going to be ready. But we'll be back the following Sunday. But I am going to South Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, for the weekend. So if any of the peeps are in Charleston, man, hit me up. Get you a beer while I'm out there. I'm looking for. I've never been to Charleston, so it'll be. My daughter's into and I watched Outer Banks. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Okay, yeah, yep.
So that's where it's filmed in that area.
Okay.
So, yeah, she wants to do the whole thing. It's her spring break, so we're just going for the weekend. So
nice. Yeah. Well, I'm off my 30-day deal. Today is actually 31 days now since I've had a sip of alcohol. So, man, the St. Patty's Day is Tuesday, so there's a St. Patty's Day bar crawl thing that I'm going to go to, and nice. I'm definitely going to be getting lit.
Yeah. Well, lastly, before we wrap it up, I definitely appreciate it, because I got to get up early tomorrow, unfortunately. To give me the update, because I saw the Big 12 tourney, and I want Tech. So what is going on? Because you're the best college basketball guru. Where are we at with this? How are we looking? When does the tournament should we start in a couple weeks? And Miami Tech?
Yep, the Big 12 tournament all the tournaments will be over this weekend. They'll do the selection Sunday, which that's when they'll put all the teams in the regions. And Tech has a double bye in the Big 12 tournament, so they won't actually have to play until, I believe, for Thursday or Friday. So they got a double bye. But their last two games have been a letdown. I don't really know what's going on with them guys, but they lost their last two that were both winnable games. They should have won those games, but they've lost them. But I'm hoping that Coach McCaslin gets them turned around. They can make a run in the tournament. But yeah, they lost their best player on the team to injury, and that's probably going to hurt their chance as well. I don't give them a chance to win at all anymore. I think they're probably maybe a Sweet 16 is probably their ceiling. So, but yeah,
just got to get in there, right? Miami and my football Canes were proof of that. You just got to get in there, get hot, get things going. It's, and anything can happen. So definitely appreciate all you guys hanging out in the cave. It was awesome. Again, like I said, if you guys could do us a solid, I'm seeing we got a bunch of new subscribers that came through tonight. So definitely appreciate it. Just hit that thumbs up, hit the like, subscribe. If you're not a subscriber already, if you ever want to be part of the Cowboys Cave family, you guys can do that. Join the membership. Membership has its privileges. We do a lot of stuff for the members, and we do giveaways and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. Definitely appreciate it. Kelly, any final words? Did we sway you in any way? Are you still on the fence? I mean, where are we at? Did we help get any more? Are you a little bit better? Any better? Just a little bit? No.
No, I'm just I'm looking towards the draft and looking towards the draft and the rest of the offseason is what I look for. It's not over yet. So if anything, I'm clinging on to the hope of we could still get better. We could still make this thing
up their sleeve. They made some roster moves and some things.
They did
more money, so there may be a move, there may be a trick up their sleeve, and it could be a trade. It doesn't necessarily have to be a free.
No, yeah.
There could be something out there. There could be a cornerback, linebacker. There could be someone out there that the Cowboys got their eye on. So definitely stay tuned. Keep in touch with the Cave. We'll always be bringing you guys the latest. Love our live shows. Love doing it with you guys. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Be safe. And Kelly, I know you're breaking that curse. You're going to be drinking, so be safe. Make sure you Uber, because I don't know if your body's going to be able to take it. You guys take care. We'll see you. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.